What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Aha as we continue through the second disc of bonus material from the 20th Anniversary Edition of Analogue. And the next one in the playlist is an alternate version of Halfway Through the Tour. So yes, I remember when I reacted to this, a few people said it's not really their favorite, but it is pleasant enough for what it is. And I remember also a few people noting, as I certainly experienced listening to it the first time, that it's very much like a two-part song. The first few minutes has a very energetic feel, sort of a rock or band type of song, but with some electric keyboard sounds as well. But I actually think, having re-listened to it sometimes over the intervening period, that both parts of the track have a bit of a Beatles feel, which is not the first time I've said that about an Aha song, and which is now a bit amusing to me because I've started to go through the Beatles material, and I really haven't known their material in any comprehensive sense. So yes, I suppose when I have been making that comment about some Aha songs, it's more about my reputational perception of the Beatles sound, not so much knowing their albums in any detail. Nevertheless, as I said, I think both sides of the song, both the more energetic side and this ambient, atmospheric final half of the tune, they do have a bit of that style. And yeah, ultimately it is one that I think is less common in their overall discography. It's, not a really keyboard-driven tune in the sense that some of their earlier songs are, or even some of their later songs, but it also isn't a straightaway like rock track or blues rock or so on. So yeah, it's a tune that has this sort of two-sided nature and is perhaps a bit of an outlier sonically in their catalog, but I do enjoy it, and I do like the fact that it sort of has this feel of being two songs that are synced to or in the same track overall. In any case, I of course will be looking out for any differences I notice sonically, so let's give it a listen. This is an alternate version of Halfway Through the Tour from the 20th Anniversary Edition of Analogue.
Halfway through the tour, we'll be somewhere else tomorrow. Halfway through the tour, we'll be somewhere else tomorrow. And I can't wish for more than walking at that door. Halfway through the tour, how's a setback from the road? Halfway through the tour, across the dry expanse we go. And I can't wish for more than walking out that door and make for home tomorrow. Halfway through the tour, but when the crowds engage and brings you to a place, you will know. there's money to be made. Halfway through the door, from the public eye we fade. And you know, across the dry space, we're flying by our pants. We'll be somewhere else tomorrow. Halfway through the door, I can't do much more. We made for home tomorrow.
So, multiple thoughts here. The first of which, that felt longer. I mean, I don't actually remember exactly how long the album track is, but yeah, that was over 7 minutes. And though I guess it's not impossible that the album track was that long, I would be surprised if it actually was that long. Can I check? Because I think Analogue, yeah, it's one of the ones I downloaded. Let me see here. So the album version, no, I'm wrong. The album version is actually a little bit longer. It's about 10 seconds longer. So, yeah, I guess roughly speaking, they're the same length. And maybe I just haven't listened to it as much. Again, I do enjoy the track, but it is fair to say that even on Analog, it's not one I've listened to the most since the... What are you doing? Are you attacking my feet? Ridiculous. But yeah, so, I mean, I guess it is a testament to the way it really is like two tracks put together, which, again, I remember people talking about that. I probably said something to that effect when I did the original reaction. But I noticed here, like, the transition, it's less like the tempo is seamlessly transitioned. It's almost like the faster first part sort of fades and is eclipsed by the slower and more atmospheric second part. So yes, the idea that there's really like two faces to this tune, two sides to it, it definitely hit me very notably in this hearing of the alternate version. I will say also the overall sonic atmosphere felt pretty similar in both parts, maybe a bit more like natural instrument sounding in the first part, and yet in the second part, and maybe it's not too terribly different from the album version, but the electric organ was really standing out to me here in the second half of this alternate version. So, yeah, like sonically, I don't think it's terribly different on either side of the tune, but it did strike me as a bit different in both sections, but almost like for the opposite reason. And yeah, the Beatles vibes came through here, but maybe not as much in the final studio, or not final studio, final album version, where I remember having a slightly stronger sense of that, not just when I first reacted to it, but even on later listenings. But yeah, again, it's an anomaly. In fact, there were, I think, a couple people at least who said this is kind of like, it was Paul trying to do something different, something, outside their normal song stylings, like musically and maybe lyrically, but definitely that came across here as well, and perhaps even more so. It feels more like, an experimental B-side or something, which is funny, right? Because this is on the final version is on the album, but yeah, it has the feel of like a more experimental track. So either way, I think this is enjoyable, and I am curious how I'm hearing this alternate version and whether any of you out there notice more significantly the differences from the album version. But yeah, again, a cool tune, and one that is maybe not unique, but certainly less common in their larger discography. In any case, I shall be back in one moment with a live aha reaction, and we'll see now Luke is sitting all calmly and not attacking my feet. She's very unpredictable, this one. So let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.